Good morning. Today's message is called Washing Oysters. It is surreal, the things that can touch us and speak to us sometimes. And for me, in this case, it was washing oysters. Friday night, I sat on a pier and I removed sea squirts and barnacles and crabs and dirt and muck from all these tiny little baby oyster shells. And I cannot explain it, but it felt like the greatest honor to just be able to sit and do something that seemed so small. There was this unexplainable amount of love and peace I felt with everything I touched. And, oysters aren't exactly any part of my routine or have not historically been. Not as an avid seafood lover or person on the water. I can't say that I ever would have noticed them before or given them too much thought or sentiment. Until recent months when I feel like God uses them to speak to me about so many things in my life, spiritually and metaphor. And now I'm pretty crazy about most things oyster or pearl, and I just love them. And thankfully for me, Sophie is also really into science and loves it a lot too. And so we became oyster gardeners over the summer. And anyway, in preparation of the storm, I went alone. So that's why she wasn't here, but this was about our togetherness. Anyway, I digress. So while I was sitting there with him and I'm washing all these oysters, I keep thinking about how beautiful they were. And I must have a dozen pictures in my phone, and I could have sat with them all night. And I just couldn't get over it. Imagine if we all felt like that about little things, no matter how mundane or dirty or small. And it was one of those messages and feelings that I really pray just sticks, in all areas of my life, because I need this reminder just as much as anybody else does. But I really want to hold it and remember that there is honor and there is a privilege in all of the things that we get to take care of, no matter how we think about them in passing. Anyway, as I sit a few days later, still thinking and meditating on that experience, I'm also reminded of several other verses, like Isaiah 40:11 that says, He gathers us in His arms and holds us close to heart. Psalms 139:9-10 that says, God holds us in His right hand. John 10:28 that says, no one can snatch us from His hand. And then 1 John 1:9 that talks about the way He cleanses us. Now, I can't help but see that maybe that strange, wonderful love rush is the way that God looks at each of us. Not everything that I removed from those oysters were bad things. However, they were harmful to the oyster in some way. I mean, most of them could kill them, I guess, immediately, or some of them could kill them immediately, but a lot of them, they accumulate in the cage and on their shell and can gradually suffocate them or drill through their shell or drain them, and kill them eventually. Some things I had to pull off. Some things had to be scraped and sprayed out. And it was messy. But never once did I see something that I didn't want to touch. I wanted to restore my babies and free what was precious to me. I don't know how many oysters I touched, but each one of them were unique, and I admired all their tiny little shells and the ruffles around the edges and just their varying shapes and hues and how they were all so different from each other and growing at various paces. I wanted to see every single one of them and each of their details and give them each their best chance at health and success and life. I understood their purpose and how important they were, their cause to me. Friend, I don't know what you think about or find passion in, but so many times that we think that our time with God is a separate thing from the things we're already doing. But Zephaniah 3:17 says that God is in our midst. He does everything with us, and so He's always there available for that communication. I don't know how you view God or how He thinks that He looks at you. There might be many things that you are ashamed of or wrestle with or can't even bear to look at yourself. But you have a Father that sees what He loves in you more than He sees any of the dirty things or that might be too messy to fool with anywhere else you are concerned. You know, the rest of that verse in 1 John 1:9 says, if we confess our sins, then he is faithful and righteous to forgive us of our sins and to cleanse us from all righteousness. There is a togetherness in our cleansing. Don't underestimate what happens when you spend time with God, no matter how or where you spend it. And whatever you've got on you, I pray that you can just lay it all bare before him. He already sees it and has a son that died so he could get a hold of it. I pray that God can cleanse you and show you just how much he loves you as you already are. Thank you.